All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. All right, we're talking about this Nate Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev fight because now they're both saying that they want it. They're like, they want it, son. They're saying it publicly. Now, I will say that Nate Diaz is notoriously very challenging to get to agree to a bout, but he wants his final bout. Khamzat, I assume, wants to fight. He just got married, and he was, he's like tweeting, trying to set up fights on his whatever, like on his wedding night or whatever. And it's Khamzat. And so we're going to talk about that fight because there's some interesting things to note there. Not just about like the dynamics of why you're getting it made. I actually think it's a more interesting fight than people are giving it credit for. And then also we're going to talk about this footage of Khamzat Chimaev getting worked in sparring. Shocking. Worked. Like seemed to almost have no chance against this opponent, which seems almost impossible. Right up until you see who it is, right up until you see who the person that's beating him up is. And you're like, oh, got it. Understand now. But yeah, so we'll talk about that. Now, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell, and then you'll know when I upload and do things other times, But yeah, so let's jump into this thing. And then, one quick thing real quick. So how many of you guys do Jiu Jitsu? How many of you guys live in the Austin area? How many of you guys know who Victor Hugo is? How many of you guys know who Steve Hargett is because you watch my channel? Okay, Steve Hargett and Victor Hugo, both Jiu-Jitsu world champions, current Jiu-Jitsu world champions. Steve and Masters 2 light heavy. Victor is, I believe, the number one Jiu-Jitsu fighter in the world. Heavyweight, multi-time world champion, won worlds last year, I think he's won everything, actually. But their new school just opened in Lake Travis or is like opening in the next week. I just trained there yesterday. I'm going to go train there tomorrow. And I will be training there all the time because if your options are, take lessons from Victor Hugo and Steve Hargett, two of the best jiu-jitsu fighters in the history of the sport, or fill in the blank with any other option, seems like a pretty solid option. And they're going to be teaching class there every single day. And it's opening right now. So if you're interested, you'll get to beat me up, get to beat me up too. Class from the best, beat up this loudmouth fuck. It's going to be a good time. The website is Lake Travis Jiu-Jitsu. Or I'm sorry. God, I fuck that up every time. Jiu-Jitsu Lake Travis. And it's Six Blades Lake Travis opening very soon. Shanji Ribeiro will be in there all the time too. It is going to be an academy of absolute fucking champion killers. And I can't wait to see how good Giselle gets. I can't fucking wait. I literally cannot wait. But anyway, so yeah, if you're interested, go on the website, do the contact us, and they'll give you information. You'll be talking to Victor and Steve. Anyway, so where was I? Okay, so Nate Diaz and Khamzat. Okay, so I think that there is this idea that they're just throwing Nate Diaz to the wolf. I thought I was going to say wolves, but no, I'm the wolf brother. I think that is the kind of universally accepted narrative here is like, they're all right, Nate doesn't want to resign, feed him to Khamzat. And I do think that is certainly part of what UFC is doing, if not all of what UFC is doing. The other thing to consider is like, even if Nate's on his way out, he's too big of a draw to not get value from him. Like maybe not maximum value where you get the Conor last fight. I think they were trying to get the Conor fight out of him actually, but I don't think he wants to wait. So, you can't just put him up against some like young up and comer you think is going to whip his ass. You still got to get a big fight out of him because he's one of your, most valuable assets. And so with Khamzat, you get the best of both worlds. You get a big, huge fight. And you also theoretically have a pretty high likelihood that he gets beat up on his way out. But here's the thing. So first of all, there is an argument where you don't necessarily need to devalue him because he's going to go fight Jake Paul and then what? He's going to come back. Like Nate's going to come back. He goes fights Jake Paul. He's going to come back. What else is he going to do? Right? He's not, unless he makes so much money from Jake Paul that he just hangs him up, which is possible. But I don't know. But either way, the other thing too, though, is I actually don't think this fight is that cut and dry. Now, it might just be because I just saw Khamzat fight Gilbert Burns and no one is more aware of this phenomenon than me, which is the viewer can never disconnect from the quality of the opponent that the person faced, where it's like you have a guy who loses to Khabib and then loses to Dustin Poirier. And you're like, that guy's washed, bro. That guy is washed. And he just lost to two of the best guys in the world. in really close fights. I realize sounds like I'm talking about Conor. I didn't mean to do that. I'm trying to like make the point of you lose to two like absolutely elite guys and people are like, it's a wash. And then on the flip side of that, you put somebody in there and they dirt nap, two unranked guys in a row. And you're like, oh my God, this guy's never going to lose. Did you see what happened right there? He's never going to lose. And so watching Khamzat fight Gilbert Burns, who I admittedly have said many times, I think is absolutely in the top 3 welterweights in the world. He's a killer. He's in the top 3 and he's still the most underrated guy in the division, which is crazy. But I just saw Khamzat go up against him. Now, the reason why I'm saying that it's not quite as simple, I mean, listen, if I had to bet, of course I'm going to bet on Khamzat. Let's just make that perfectly clear. But the idea that Nate has absolutely no chance, I don't buy that. And I'll tell you why. Because like it's like, okay, when he was fighting Gilbert, it's like, what's one of those notable kind of like skill versus skill matchups that was really important to kind of take note of? And it was like, what's going to happen when Khamzat tries to establish top game, right? And when he did, Gilbert was able to put him in danger. He was able to put him in danger enough that Khamzat was like, whoa, and he backed up and stood up. And then that ended up being, essentially primarily just a striking match the entire time. And that's notable because Steve is one of the guys who specifically told me that he thinks Nate is one of the nastiest guys off of his back in jiu-jitsu in the UFC. So if Nate can move quickly and put Khamzat in danger from his back, then you might end up with another primarily, striking match. Now, obviously, Gilbert is a lot more explosive than Nate. And so, Gilbert might have done a better job of not getting taken down also. But again, it's not impossible to end up on the feet. And I don't care what anybody says. If Khamzat fights on the feet like he did against Gilbert, against anyone who's got, decent striking, you can't just assume he's going to walk through them, right? Because, he's great and he's really powerful and he comes forward and he's a gangster. But he takes chances. He takes a lot of chances, He takes a lot of chances. And I say that as a compliment, but anybody who takes chances can get caught. And Nate is very hard to knock out. Very, 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 let me think, pretty much impossible to knock out, right? Except for Josh Thompson, who hit him with a baseball bat in the face. Now, again, I would say pretty confidently that Nate's best years are probably behind him, but he's always game. And if that fight ended up being a war, it'll be so entertaining. Number one, the crowd will lose its fucking mind. Khamzat versus Nate Diaz in a war. And then if Nate, by some miracle, won that fight, that would literally be the most legendary shit ever, dude. Like, it would be absolutely legendary. I'd be so, oh my God, dude. I think it would the entire sport would get lit on fire all at once. And, and on his way, then he gets to go fight Jake Paul and make $1 billion. Anyway, it'd be amazing. But yeah, so then the other thing that I was going to mention about Khamzat was I saw this video that hopefully I'll remember and kind of put on in the background here, because as soon as you see who he's sparring against, you'll be like, oh, okay, got it. He is getting worked by Gadyrov, right? The dictator of Chechnya, one of the most, dangerous people on the face of the earth. So I just think it's so funny because I always think about that, guys like Gadyrov, when he goes, he trains, he trains. And I always think about how man, he must, who's going to fight him hard? You know what I mean? Who's going to try to establish strong top game and stick your chest in his face and smother him, You know what I mean? And like where you could feel that he's getting uncomfortable and he's running out of gas, and you just stick your chest in his face and absolutely throw all your weight on it and just dare him to tap from exhaustion. You know, like no one's going to fucking train with him like that. No, like of course not. No one's going to try to snap a submission on him. No, because he's a guy, like you want him as a friend and you sure as fuck don't want him as an enemy, dude. There's no one strong enough to absorb an AK-47 to the head, you know? And AK-47 to the AK-47 round to the head. 7.62 to the head, I guess would have been the correct way to frame that. But I just thought that was funny because I always think about that. Like these guys, you know, like Putin. Putin's a black belt in judo, and I'm sure he's exceptional at judo. I have a feeling that he has a hard time finding opponents that fight him really hard. You know, they're like, oh, I've got, like, they find themselves in a position where they could just dip him. And they're like, I could take this, but I might end up drinking radiated tea that'll turn my liver into, a liquefied fucking piece of, like cup of soup. I think I'm good. I think I'm probably going to just let him dip me and then, ensure that I'm not going to die a painful, cancerous 7-day death. Most likely, I think, is how I'm going to handle this. But anyway, I don't know. That's what I got. I really hope they make that fight because they both want it, and it would be an incredible fight, and I will go. So now, if you guys are interested in going to UFC 277, hit me up. These are going to go really, really fast. I'm going to start taking payments like now, actually. So hit me up. I'm announcing it at the end of the video so I don't get bombarded, specifically so that people who watch this entire video get first dibs on it, in addition to the people who've already gone, who I already have their list. And, but yeah, if you guys want to go, it's going to be off the hook. Anthony's fighting. I'm going to try to get tickets really close this time. And then, and we'll stay at Fighter Hotel. So yeah, it's in Dallas, July 30th. Tickets, $1,500, includes the ticket. We'll do an event on Friday night. Be a good time. So anyway, hit me up. Email me, realjesseonfire@gmail.com. That's what I got. Peace.